Hello and welcome to another video from the Fantasy Legion. I've got Sean with me. We're doing 2020 profiles.
No, I know what we're going to do, and I've been looking forward to this one for a little while.
Why
don't you introduce it? I'm not smiling. I'm just excited.
I don't know. We're talking about probably the best quarterback outside the top two, aren't we?
Well, it could be argued. Yeah,
that Prescott
could be argued
from the mighty Dallas Cowboys.
A lot of interesting news, isn't it? Now, let me be honest. From a Dallas perspective, I mean, you're a big Dallas fan. You know, what did you think? Because you must have been disappointed.
It's so worrying they haven't signed a contract. I mean, I won't give up hope because Cooper could have walked. Amari Cooper could have walked, but Jerry got the deal done in the end. I mean, it's drawn out. It's drawn out. They can't offer him a contract this year. Obviously, he's going to play on the...
No, he's got to play on the franchise tag. Yep.
Yeah, but I think they might put him on it next year if he doesn't sign. So they'll just keep... it could run and run.
Let's just highlight this out. You know, you guys, Jerry Jones is the great negotiator, right? Let's be honest, he overpays for his players.
That's one word to describe him.
Well, I think he's a really decent boss. There aren't many bosses you meet in life who overpay for your services. As much as people might, not like that and find it frustrating. The one thing I've always liked about him is the fact that he does seem, he treats you, if you're in the Dallas, you seem to be part of the family. And I respect that, from a player's point of view.
It is literally part of his family because they're all employed there, aren't they? They're all the main people.
Now,
all the Joneses.
This hasn't necessarily bred success, but the one thing it has done, I think, is given players what I call great career prospects. And I actually feel, I looked at the deal very carefully, and it was 110 million guaranteed. 70 of that was guaranteed the first 2 years. And that's actually very fair market value, actually. It's not bad.
Well, I was quite surprised when he turned it down, I must admit.
The problem is that Dallas had 17 months to negotiate this deal.
Well, exactly.
Right? I don't want to hear about that they nearly got it done. You had 17 months. It's like,
they didn't get it done. That's a fact, isn't it?
That's the point, right? So the whole point of it is you had 17 months. You missed the deadline. It's very telling. And this has only happened twice in the last 19 years in the NFL, where a quarterback has fallen to the franchise tag. On both occasions, it's ended very, very badly for the owning team. Now that his brother has got involved, Dak Prescott's brother has got involved and tweeted out some pretty disturbing tweets. It's pretty telling.
What's he been tweeting then? Because I haven't seen them.
He tweeted effectively that he probably will not be supporting or cheering on the Cowboys for very long now. That's quite telling because normally when tweets get out from family members, again, legitimate tweets, been commenting on a number of the US press sites about it, it comes straight from, I'm afraid, Dak Prescott. It has to be assumed that because there's no reason. There's no reason
part of the team trying to get Dak a deal, though, isn't he? So now, he can turn the screw without any ramifications, can't he?
But the other part that should have been the red flag to this, and perhaps we should have seen this coming, not saying I did tell you that there was a bit of a worry around this contract getting done. I did mention it some time ago, actually, about this deal.
Leave it out.
Don't want to rub it in here, but the moment that he changed his agent. Dak Prescott was a huge red flag to me because the previous agent was more of a kind of a company man. More, take that deal, that's fair, and they changed the deal. And the other part that Dallas got wrong, and it happens. It's not their fault. It's the way markets change. Is they should have signed Dak before Jared Goff's contract and Carson Wentz's contract, and frankly, we'd never have this conversation.
Patrick Mahomes' contract as well.
Right, now that I'm coming to that, because now Patrick Mahomes has had his contract, it's pretty obvious that Dak is looking north of 40 million. Not a lot more, but about 40 million plus. The 2-year deal would have given 70. If he's franchise tagged twice, is 36, 37 million. So it tells you everything you need to know about his negotiating stance. It wasn't good enough. And now the lines have been drawn. And what's dangerous now for Dak is injury is massively dangerous now moving forward. This is really high-risk stuff. And players know this, so it always breeds a lot of discontent in the locker room. I now have some big concerns over this. I think if there was one organisation that could buck a trend, I know it's not much of a trend when you've only got 2 quarterbacks going to the franchise tag, Jerry Jones is still the man that could get this still sorted next season. It's possible, but it's going to have to be a booming deal, and that's the worry. And I don't
has
see
he got the cap space after giving Zeke and Amari?
Well, that's the other problem.
He doesn't seem to. I mean, we let a lot of good players on the defensive side of the ball walk as well. This off season. So
you see,
I think for this year for fantasy, I still like Dak because we're gonna have to throw all day because the defense is notably weaker. So
I think
it's not a bad thing for the fantasy players.
For Dak Prescott, I think there is a risk involved with injury, but the truth is what you're playing for is a massive contract here now, because you can say, look what I just did. And it's hard to argue with that if you back it up on the field. It's going to be very difficult to argue with him. So he's playing for a big contract, and it's going to be a big contract, 40 million plus. Patrick Mahomes has set as classically, I said this would do a lot of damage.
I mean, he's not Patrick Mahomes, though, is he? So he can't.
No, well, he can't. No, he can't argue that. But what he can do is say, my stats suggest, because quarterbacks are always playing for the potential. It's the one position in the NFL when you're negotiating contracts, you're always paid for your potential. That's the same with every rookie walking in. They always get big deals because it's the potential of what they can deliver. Dak Prescott has proved that from his drafting position of where he came out in the draft and what he's managed to achieve, he is a very exceptional guy who will end up with a very good deal, whether it's with Dallas or without them. He's going to end up being paid somewhere 40 million plus next year. I think. I don't think it'll go 2 years to. I doubt it'll go 2 years to franchise tag.
See, I think that's what it'll come down to at the end of the day. That basically, end of the year, you'll see what offers he gets. And probably if they're not markedly, better than what Dallas are offering, he'll probably take Dallas, a bit like Amari Cooper did. But if someone offers him a blowout deal, then his head might get turned. That's a worry if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan like I am. So,
exactly. And if you think about it, if he puts together, which I think they're capable of there in Dallas this year. I mean, I have them. I have Dak Prescott upwards of 4,800 yards. I think that's very capable.
So do I. He has to. I mean, look at his supporting cast. So he's got CD Lamb added to Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup and. You got Blake Jarwin who might well feature. You got Zeke Elliott. So many good.
And let me put it this way. Actually, it's a very interesting problem that Dallas now have because, everybody now knows. Obviously, he's playing for his next contract. That's the reality of the situation he's in. And if he got you guys to a Super Bowl, whether he wins it or not, or a championship game, he's going to get 40 plus somewhere. Somebody's going to come in and pay that.
I don't think we're good enough to get to a Super Bowl. I mean, we were a better team last year and failed to do it. I mean, we've added a couple of pieces, but obviously CD Lamb notably, but it's not enough to paper over the cracks. I mean, our defense wasn't great last year. The offense was pretty good, especially for fantasy.
It must be gutting though, because the thing about this is we know how hard it is to find these quarterbacks, and the thing what Patrick Mahomes is showing. What Patrick Mahomes has shown here is that, and what I think Kansas have done is they've it's one of those things you kind of see after the event. It's a bit hindsight, but I now see this is the new direction of the NFL quarterbacking, where you get the big long-term deal with some caveats where both sides can amicably divorce or maybe not amicably divorce, but get away from the contract.
No one amicably divorces, sure.
Not really, but we'll call it that. It's a happy divorce.
Yeah, they can.
But you can see that is the future of the big contracts coming, and Patrick Mahomes has backed up his potential with the Super Bowl win, and it'll be now interesting to see how he does moving forward, Patrick Mahomes, on this big contract, and whether Kansas can live up to the potential of going back to another Super Bowl quite quickly. We'll see. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, certainly is. So would you be a buyer of Dak this year in fantasy?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I will tap in.
For actually fancy-wise, you wouldn't.
If I'm honest now, I had Dak Prescott. I think he was high on my list, but I think I had him at 5 on my list of quarterbacks.
Didn't I?
And you had him a couple more higher than me, and now I'm moving up to 3. So you were right.
Stop it.
Do you know why?
You've listened.
But you know why? Because this will force him to play for that contract even more. So there might be a few more errors, but I think he's clever.
That's what let him down last year. He threw a lot of yards, but he did make the odd error at crucial times.
So I think he'll throw the ball, force it a little bit more. And do you know what? I think he'll play a little bit more like, with. I don't think it's going to. Sometimes when you're in situations like this, people often think there's more pressure, but I actually think with a quarterback like him and listening to him talk, I think this is the kind of pressure he obviously enjoys.
I don't think it'll affect Dak, to be honest. He's a decent player. He's
It'll
just
be
got to cut
interesting
out
to see
the
what happens.
mistakes. I mean, I went to watch him, obviously, went over to watch him in America, and we played Green Bay. He threw for 500 yards that day, and we lost.
Yeah. Wow.
So,
okay, yeah.
I think...
Do you think, as a Dallas fan, I mean, you've had a 17-month window to get this done. It didn't happen, and this is with one of the,
I really hope it'll get done. It's
with one of
now.
the best. Let's be honest, with one of the best and fairest negotiators in the business, Jerry Jones. It hasn't been done. Can they get this done next year when the opportunity presents itself?
They can, but obviously it's a lot less likely now that it wasn't done before this contract deadline. There's always counter moves. I mean, we've picked up, the Red Rifle, Andy Dalton. So, ready-made replacement. He's almost as good, isn't he?
Yeah. I look forward to talking about that next year on a video about the Red Rifle replacement. That should be
the Bengals were a good team last year, weren't they?
They were all right. Yeah, they were all right.
They got first pick. Yeah,
they were all right.
Get Trevor Lawrence in.
Maybe that'll help.
Get rid of that. You don't need to play Dalton from the start. Get Trevor Lawrence.
Maybe what you're saying is maybe if you play Red Rifle straight away, you can improve your defense next year by having the first pick. That'd be good. I like your thinking. That's logical.
Exactly. Yeah, we can get Trevor Lawrence. We don't have to worry about that, do we? So, hey, you got to think about it. Get rid of that. We don't need that old baloney.
That's it. We're changing course.
Yeah.
That'd be like putting me in. That'd be a disaster for him. You definitely take 16 games then.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's a bit worrying for being a Dallas fan, but what can you do? You're in the laps of the gods, are you, at this stage? So,
yeah.
Okay, Sean. Thank you very much. It's a thumbs up for Dak on the season, but a thumbs down that the contract hasn't been done. I'm very worried. Yeah. I'm very worried, to be honest. Andy Dalton, though, so it's not all bad, is it?
Yeah. Oh, it's not all bad. It's not all bad for us Rams fans watching it.
No.
I'm looking forward to that 2,500 yard season.
I mean, you've got Jared Goff. That's worse.
I'd say.
He's got a contract. That's worse.
Yeah, that's in some ways, yeah. In some ways,
he's not too bad. He's not too good either. But there you go. Anyway, so if you've enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe for more. Plenty more to come. Thank you very much, Sean, and we'll see you on the next one.
See you next time.